Matt.
And I'm Matt.
With LFD Research. Today, we're going to have a first look at the FN57 pistol. Now, we're probably going to be doing a lot more work with this, mainly because both of us really find the premise of this gun and this caliber more so than the gun.
Yeah.
Honest truth is, the gun, I'm not so much a fan. The caliber, I like the caliber. The caliber has many upsides. Now, to start off, this right here, case for the gun. Gun comes with 3 magazines.
Yep.
Granted, it's an FN, so it's really an expensive gun.
Yeah.
MSRP, if you can find it, is about $1,200. But I know some people who are interested in them, and they're like, yeah, I want to buy one. It's $1,700.
Oof. Yeah.
At a gun shop. Not at a gun show, at a gun shop. Granted, this gun shop is in Chicago, Illinois. Well, it's, I think, the only one in Cook County or something like that. But it's right outside Chicago. So that's probably something to do with why it's so darn expensive. But a few upsides of this gun. It's a full size. Magazines hold 20 rounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty much an all polymer gun.
Yep. Even the slide that has a metal interior is wrapped in polymer.
And it's got a few downsides though.
Yeah.
The grip length here, rather long, but then again, it's also a rather long cartridge.
Yeah.
The barrel though is very tiny. I mean, this thing looks just almost
looks like an airsoft
fake.
gun.
Yeah, it really does look like an airsoft gun. But the downsides are, it's got safeties, not good safeties. Magazine empty, chamber empty, so we're going to close the chamber. First, it has a safety right here.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can flip it off with your finger, but
there's people that like them.
And people that hate them.
I wouldn't carry a gun with a manual safety as a carry gun.
So that stops here. But we flip that safety off. Let's pull the trigger. Oh.
Magazine disconnect.
Not good. I don't like magazine disconnects.
Nah.
Another downside from my point of view is the fact that they have this white label right on top of the slide with your serial number. I mean, I'd rather have it like right here.
Well, it is stamped on the side of the frame right there.
It is stamped on the side of the frame, but it's also on the slide, okay? Yeah. I'm not a fan of something big, especially like that on top of your slide, so when you're taking sights, maybe you can get reflection off it. I don't know. It really draws back from the look of the gun. And another thing, I'm not a huge fan of this little slide catch or slide release, depending on who you are. But that's potatoes or potatoes. It doesn't really matter.
It's idiosyncrasies of a gun that's otherwise pretty cool.
But the upsides are large magazine capacity. Yeah. You can get an extended 30-round magazine, so that's going to come down to about that far on the gun. Yeah. Which is okay. It is bigger than a Glock 17, so let's get a Glock 17 in here. We have a Glock 17 here. Empty mag, empty chamber. So, we're going to put the Glock 17 in front because, you know, it's the smaller of the two. Yep. Barrel's longer. Slides wider on the 5.7.
Yep.
But what can you do?
Yeah.
Now, the magazines are pretty much all polymer on the 5.7.
Yeah.
Nice thing is, it's a double stack mag. So, like your AR-15s and your AK-47s, you can shove ammo right down the center, making loading very, very simple. Easy. Where the Glock, well, it is double stack, it's not quite so double stack.
It's single feed, so you still have to push down, push back, and repeat, and tear up your thumbs.
Now we're coming to the good side. The 5.7 ammo. Yeah. That's 5.7 by 28 millimeter. Now, this is a bottlenecked cartridge. So, you have a very tiny bullet on top of a ton of powder.
Yeah. Here's the 9mm.
They look not too different in this perspective.
Yeah.
But when you start putting in a box of 50, Box of 50 rounds of 5.7.
Yeah.
Even that doesn't look like a huge difference.
No.
The truth is, when it comes to weight.
Yeah. The 5.7 is 60% of the weight of 9mm. So.
It takes up 70% of the volume, but most of the mass is contained within the bullet. So being such a small and light bullet means that when you have 50 rounds, it's lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
You're talking 355 grams for 50 rounds of 5.7, where you're talking 604 grams for 50 rounds of 9mm, which that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But you're also using less cubic space.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you have the same amount of space and the same amount of weight, you can hold 600 9mm for every 1,000 rounds of 5.7.
Yeah.
So you gain 400 rounds when you're going by weight. If you go by volume, the 5.7 doesn't win quite as well. You only got 700 9mm versus 1,000 5.7. So it's only a 300 round gain. But that's still a pretty big differential.
Yeah. 300 extra rounds is probably pretty useful.
It is pretty useful, but then again, you have the other downside of the 5.7, which is an insane muzzle flash. Even in daylight, it's wow!
Yeah. It's big and bright and flashy and loud.
Yeah, so every time you're shooting, it's like, wow, is the paparazzi out? So, we're not done with this. No. This is more a first look. We're going to bring the camera in close. We're going to have Matt take it apart here so you can see how it operates.
Yeah. Yep.
So, what we're going to do here is we're going to weigh these in grams. We have 50 rounds of 5.7 by 28 here.
Yep.
And 50 rounds of 9mm over there. Mm-hmm. Now, since the 9mm, as you can see here, it's got this little plastic in it. What we're going to do is we have another one of them. We're just going to zero that out. So we're going to start off by weighing the 5.7 ammo. That's 50 rounds is 353 grams.
Yep.
Now, we're going to zero out the plastic. So we're just going to say,
here we go.
For plausible sake, this is what just the raw ammo inside of a box for 50 rounds would weigh. 602 grams.
Yep. That's a lot more weight to haul around for 50 rounds.
And that's why you gain so much when you're talking 1,000 rounds of 5.7 versus 9mm. Yep. Just for absolute weight.
Yep.
The volume difference is not as substantial, but it still is fairly large.
Yeah, you still gain on volume, just you gain faster on weight.
Which is very, very important when you're either A, having to carry it, or B, put it on a plane.
Yeah.
So 600 versus 637.
Yep.
So the Glock is a slightly heavier gun.
Yeah.
Even though it's shorter.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit more steel in the barrel and the slide.
All right. Well, why don't we weigh the Glock 17 and one of its mags, fully loaded.
Yep.
Now, this is just loaded with a 115 grain ball. 924 grams.
Yep. Have that. Okay.
$812 grams.
Yeah.
So we're gaining 3 more shots with a fully loaded magazine, nothing in the chamber.
Yes.
So we're even further ahead when you add that extra shot.
Yeah.
So just from this perspective here, the 5.7 is already a lighter gun, fully loaded, and it holds more rounds.
Yes. So even being slightly physically larger for the gun,
it's less.
It's lighter. So probably a little bit easier to carry.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to take this thing apart. Hit the takedown latch. Take the slide off.
So it lifts straight up?
Yes. Slide it a little bit forward, lift straight out.
Now,
because that lever there
is the takedown lever.
The takedown lever, which holds against the front of that barrel lug there to keep it from coming forward and off. So if you look inside of it, it's similar. Aside from having an AR-15 type turn bolt safety, it looks a lot like a lot of other hammer-fired pistols.
Hammer, not striker?
Yes, it has a hammer.
Okay, so they need doubly slapped over at FN. The hammer is actually going to engage.
Yeah,
right,
it has a shrouded hammer. And
which is probably why it's so much longer.
That's part of it. It adds 3/4 of an inch to the end.
So that's about how much longer it is than the Glock 17.
Yeah.
So our not very good design choice is yet another thing holding this gun back.
The initial design was a double action only hammer fired with none of the extra safeties. They didn't have the manual safety and they didn't have the magazine disconnect. But for military contracts, those were requested. So FN added them. And then that carried forward into the civilian guns. And the barrel comes out like any other. A little bit different than most is it has the main recoil spring coaxial with the barrel.
And captured.
And captured by that little bushing.
Which is not uncommon for some guns to have a coaxial spring, but to have a captured coaxial spring is rather rare.
Yeah. Well, usually that's just on blowbacks, which this is a blowback gun.
So it's no other locking mechanism?
Nope, it has a floating barrel. See how that groove is not camming at all. Just the barrel goes straight back and forth, and then in the frame there's a torsion spring that's quite stiff to hold the barrel forward, and that's the only thing that holds the barrel. Otherwise, the barrel is free to move yay far along with the slide. So when you fire the gun, the casing swells to the inside of the chamber and locks the...
So it's using that slightly rearward motion to, well, basically allow the brass to reduce in size to be loose.
Well,
now, there is one thing about this gun. It does require slightly lubed ammo.
Yes. Yeah, the ammunition as it comes from the factory has a polymer lubrication on the outside, which is one of the reasons why reloaded 5.7 has been known to explode guns. Because if it doesn't have the lube on it, it doesn't function exactly the way it's supposed to. Because it's a completely straight-walled case. Side walls to the case do not taper.
So what we're saying is this section here is straight wall and the bottleneck is up here.
Yeah.
But even that, it's a very sharp neck. And then it's straight wall again up to the bullet.
Yep. Yeah, this is perfectly cylindrical. I don't remember offhand if that's tapered at all, but it has the conical bullet to help guide it up the feed ramp.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very, very different design than just about anything else.
In the future, we are going to pretty much do a bunch of gel tests, but we gotta wait until the temperatures get slightly better. And with Matt here doing a quick fire. So why don't you show the people? That's a 9-inch plate.
Yeah.
That was a 15-foot test, and that was rapid fire. So that's not bad. We're going to do some head-to-head competition between the Glock 17 and the 5.7, but we're going to come back to that in a future video.